Today, I'm talking about why some women become more attractive after they stop chasing men. I'm Nisi, welcome to my channel. Now, before anybody getting their feelings in the comments, hear me out, because I've seen this happen too many times for it to be a coincidence, and I think most of you already know exactly what I'm about to say. First, let's talk about who you were chasing validation from. A lot of the men who are the most vocal about what your body should look like, the most critical, the most likely to make you feel inadequate about a body that's perfectly fine, are men who've spent years consuming pornography. Pornography is a fantasy. What's being shown is surgically altered, digitally edited, and professionally lit. It's specifically selected because it looks nothing like most women in real life. A man who's been consuming that consistently has had his entire baseline for what a normal, attractive woman looks like completely distorted. He's comparing you to something that doesn't exist without significant surgical and financial investment. And here's the most flabbergasting part. These men aren't the standard they're holding you to. Somebody making comments about your stomach is usually not someone whose own physique would hold up to any serious scrutiny. A man with strong opinions about what your body should look like in specific areas is usually someone carrying his own physical neglect and insecurities that he's decided to aim at you instead of addressing in himself. And let's talk about the audacity for a second. These are the same men who don't wash their ass in the shower, the same men with skid marks in their drawers and crusty sheets that hadn't seen a washing machine in weeks, the same men who will let their toenails grow so long they could scratch hardwood floors, and whose heels are so dry and cracked, and their hands and the bottoms of their feet so rough they could sand wood, and whose overgrown talons are so monstrous they could catch salmon swimming upstream, and then have the nerve to have an opinion about your stomach, about your thighs, about anything on your body at all. The bar these men are holding you to is a bar they couldn't clear themselves on their best day. You've been minimizing yourself and feeling inadequate chasing the validation of men who've been warped by unrealistic content and who aren't even close to what they're claiming to require. Let that sink in. You may be someone who has spent years making yourself available, adjusting yourself, watering yourself down, auditioning for the attention of men who weren't even worth the audition, and then one day you stopped. And within months, you looked completely different and more like yourself than you had in years. Every hour you spend analyzing his behavior, waiting on his texts, wondering why he's not showing up the way you need him to, making yourself smaller to fit what you think he wants, that's time and focus that's not going toward you. Your health and fitness stop being a priority because you're too drained to care. Your health takes a backseat because you're pouring everything into managing a situationship instead of managing yourself. The career you were supposed to be building stalls because you don't have the mental bandwidth to push it forward when your head is constantly occupied with someone else. Peace becomes non-existent because you're always in a state of waiting or wondering, and your appearance reflects all of it because the outside always catches up to what's happening on the inside. All of it sitting on pause while you pour into something that's not pouring back. You can't chase validation and invest in yourself at the same time. You need to pick one because you can't stretch yourself that far. The moment you stop chasing and that time comes back to you, the results are fast and they're visible. You go back to the gym because your evenings are yours again, your mind gets clear enough to think about what you want, the creativity that was sitting dormant starts flowing again because you're no longer using all your mental bandwidth trying to decode someone's behavior. The ambition you had before him comes back because you finally have the capacity to focus on yourself. Your skin clears because your cortisol finally has a chance to regulate. You stop bracing yourself and holding tension in your shoulders, your back, and your hips because you're not constantly managing someone else's moods. And your vitality comes back because you stop spending it on someone who needed constant reassurance, constant patience, and constant emotional management while getting you inconsistency in return. The confidence that comes from a man telling you that you're attractive is the most unstable kind there is. It goes up when he's attentive and crashes when he's not. You are completely at the mercy of his mood, his consistency, and whether or not he decides that day to make you feel good about yourself. That's an exhausting way to live. Confidence that comes from following your own commitments to yourself is stable. Seeing your physique change because you stay consistent at the gym, feeling the physical difference day to day because you've been eating with more awareness, watching something you built grow, that kind of confidence doesn't fluctuate based on what a man does or doesn't do. It's yours. And when you stop chasing, it's often the first time you've ever liked yourself without needing someone else to confirm it first. When the gym becomes a priority again because you're not emotionally depleted, the transformation is fast. And it's fast because consistency is finally possible. And when you're not spending your emotional reserves on someone who keeps withdrawing from them, you have something left to give to yourself at the end of the day. The discipline you build in the gym starts carrying over into how you eat because you stop reaching for food every time you're stressed and start paying attention to what you're consuming. Rest stops being the thing you sacrifice to stay up waiting on a text back from somebody who can't be bothered to respond half the time. When you're building something of your own, a business, a career, a skill, a creative practice, you stop needing a man's opinion of you to define how you see yourself. Your sense of worth starts coming from what you're creating instead of who's paying attention to you. When you're working toward goals that don't depend on a man's participation, approval, or presence, there's a direction to your life. There's a purpose outside of a relationship, and that drive is magnetic in a way that no physical change alone produces. Hobbies and interests that have nothing to do with attracting a man give you back a sense of self that chasing strips away. When your whole life orbits around being chosen, your identity becomes about being desirable, and you're constantly adjusting yourself to fit whatever standard is doing the evaluating. You're editing yourself, making yourself smaller or bigger or different depending on who you're trying to impress. When you have things you love doing for yourself and nobody else, the performing stops, and the version of you that exists in that space is more magnetic than anything you could manufacture. Self-respect is what changes most visibly when you stop chasing. Making yourself available to inconsistency, waiting for someone to decide if you're enough instead of already knowing, all of that self-respect in motion. When your self-respect is intact, you don't chase, you don't audition, and you don't edit yourself down to fit someone else's comfort zone, and that alone will change the caliber of people you attract. When you stop chasing and invest in yourself, you're not doing it to attract men. You're doing it because you finally decided that your own life, the one you actually want to be living, is worth your full attention. The care and patience you were pouring into someone who kept taking it without giving anything back finally gets redirected to you. Your peace is worth protecting more than a situationship is worth maintaining. And joy stopped being something you were waiting on someone else to provide. If you're new here, hey, I'm Nisi York. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok as Nutrition Nisi. My channel covers beauty, nutrition, and lifestyle. Drop a comment and tell me, was there a moment you stopped chasing and started investing in yourself? I want to hear it. And if this resonated, share it, like it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Take care.